We are almost there, boys. This video is going to cover chapter 5 on the ongoing series of documenting all of the collectibles and bosses needed to get that platinum trophy in Black Myth Wukong. If you've been following this from the start, thank you so much for the support. If this is your first video, then welcome. As a quick reminder, this video is simply covering where to find all of the bosses and collectibles needed for the platinum. It won't be covering in-depth strategies for the bosses, all of the miscellaneous chests and coffins, nor the special crafting material needed for weapons and armor, as you'll get them by defeating the bosses or in the shrine shops. Are you all ready? Then let's start the second to last chapter of the game. The chapter is going to open with our trusty swine charging in on a bunch of enemies. After dealing with them and activating the first shrine, we're actually going to be traveling back to chapter 4. Go to the shrine that's before the final boss there, and then make your way to where you fought the Venom Daedalist for the second time. When you get there, go into the large grassy area ahead of you and go to some statues that should be a little bit behind a tree. You should find a small chest there now that will contain the Preservation Orb Curio. This chest will only appear after you finish chapter 4, so backtracking is mandatory for it, unfortunately. But after grabbing the curio, I use the Ruyi scroll and speak to Zhu Dog to buy the Lung Aura Amplification Pellis formula from him. Make sure to buy the additional Wine Worm and Fragrant Vine from Shen Monkey as well. On a related note, if you haven't already, upgrade the starting gourd to 9 uses. It will be important for a trophy later. And lastly, go to the basket where the baby armor worm was at. In its place will be a spirit that we can now absorb. Do so and you'll finally get the Elder Armor Worm spirit. However, you could have gotten this way earlier than I did. I just did it at this pace. Back in chapter 5, as you continue on the main path, you will come across an already in progress battle taking place. Soon after entering the conflict, you will start to be attacked by a boss named the Pale Axe Stalwart. I'd recommend trying to take out the other enemies first, as they will attack you while fighting this boss. However, this dude is not actually our enemy, and the fight will end early after about 3/4 of his health will go down. Take care of any of the other stragglers, and then talk to the Stalwart and exhaust his dialogue. He will tell you of 5 elemental cards that you need to take care of. And speaking of, you'll find the first one right up the hill. This is the brown iron cart, and it is pretty easy since it stays stationary and you can run up a platform to fix yourself behind it for some easy hits. After it's down, continue on your way for a little while. You'll eventually see some steps that you can climb on your right. At the top of them will be the first meditation spot of the chapter. Once you get back to the main path, you'll see a group of enemies guarding a small chest. Once it is safe to do so, open it to get the Mount Lingte Seedling Soak. Progress until you get to the next shrine. After activating it, you'll get jumped by the next boss, Father of Stones. For your power level at this point, it will not prove too much of a challenge for you, so after you kill him, make sure to grab its spirit. Don't go through the wooden doors near you just yet, but go down the dirt path you'll see on your left or right, depending on which way you're facing. If you take the lower path, then go down a couple ledges, you'll find a somewhat hidden short pathway that will lead to a fragrant vine being guarded by a few enemies. Take them out and grab the vine. With the vine in hand, we can now go through those wooden doors. After taking a few steps, you might see a boss health bar pop up. Don't be alarmed and ignore it for now by going into the cave ahead of you. Once in the cave, stick to the right where you'll see an opening that will lead to a small chest that will give you the Amber Prayer Beads Curio. A little bit further into the cave and you'll find a spirit enemy with its back to you. Before fighting it, try to take out as many of these little guys that will blow up as much as possible so that they don't surprise attack you while you're fighting the spirit enemy. You're not going to be able to really see them, so try to explore as best you can while not getting the aggro of the spirit enemy. When you do end up defeating said enemy, grab the spirit for Charface. Make your way out of the cave, and once you approach the narrow pathway, the boss against the second cart will start for real. This one is the gray bronze cart. It is also stationary, but you'll have to be careful to avoid its fire breath attack since you have less options to dodge given the smaller confined area. After you defeat him, you won't have much time to rest as you're going to enter a cutscene which will lead into the first proper double boss fight of the game, quick as fire and fast as wind. Don't worry though, Godskin Duo they are not. I like to focus on the stone head first personally as he's just easier to hit, but you can go about it however you wish. Once they are eventually beaten, you'll get introduced to a new companion named Ping Ping, who will help guide us along the chapter. When the cutscene ends and you rest at the nearby shrine, turn around and you'll see a container for a celestial pill. This one will increase your maximum health. Press on and you will eventually have to jump down to a platform far down below to continue. Once you're down here, you'll run into a new rock enemy. Well, it's not really new, but more of a variant of the stone enemies from chapter 2. Anyways, this enemy as well as the small ones you'll run into have a chance to drop a soak that we're after, which is the Flame Mediator soak. I ended up getting mine here. Fight some more enemies, activate the shrine, and fight some more enemies where you'll see some lava looking stuff around you. You can actually traverse this, but you need to equip the fireproof mantle vessel first as it'll keep you impervious from taking any damage from stepping on it. You'll need to traverse this lava as there's some goodies for us to get. The first thing of note is a new plant, the Fire Date. I believe that these are only found in this chapter, and we're going to need the Fire Date seed from this plant, so you might have to farm it while you're doing the chapter. I ended up getting mine naturally a little bit later in the chapter here. Next thing we're after is, after fighting some weird looking enemies that pop out of the ground and then fighting a fire version of the Makaki Chief from chapter 3, you should see one of the elemental carts that is fortunately dead already. That is good. In its mouth, there's a whip in it that won't come out if we try to yank it. That is bad. Well, we're gonna have to come to this later. From here, take the next left, and at the end of this little path, you'll find one of those cat head enemies. Its name is strangely Turtle Treasure, and this one is a spirit variant, so be prepared to hit it quite a bit. Once you kill it, make sure to grab the spirit. Okay, so now from here, make your way to the other side of the lava and follow this left side path where you'll trigger a new boss fight against the Flint Chief. There's nothing too special to mention, however, after I beat it, its spirit tried clipping through the ground on me, so hopefully you won't have to deal with that yourself. Speaking of spirits, back on the main path, the rocky main path, if you take a left at the eventual fork you come across, you'll come across a spirit enemy, this time for the Earth Rakshasa. It can be a little annoying since it has a shield to deal with, but you'll take it out before too long, and once you do, you can grab the spirit. Soon after, if you take the right side at the fork, you will eventually get stopped by yet another boss, this time against Misty Cloud, Cloudy Mist. Yep, another boss fight, or double boss fight I should say. Again, you won't be fighting them at the same time, so don't worry. But they do perform various tag team moves, so be careful with that. Once they are defeated, you will have another spirit that you can add to your collection. Pass through the giant doors to continue, and you'll see another celestial pill container to increase your maximum mana as a reward for the fight. In this new area, you'll be fighting a new bull fodder enemy. Regardless of the weapons that they're holding, they all have a chance to drop the curio that we need, which is the white seashell waist chain curio. You're going to end up fighting a decent number of these guys through the rest of this chapter, so hopefully you won't have to farm for it too much. I got mine here. While exploring around this area, you'll eventually see two gigantic Rakshasa enemies. Now, I'm not sure if it's specifically the right one or if it's random between the two, but by fighting both of them, you will be guaranteed to get the gold button curio from one of them. But I do recommend fighting both since they're really easy and you get some good experience out of them. After dealing with the giants, you should see a building that you can enter. Inside, you'll find the Gourd Master NPC and another awakening wineworm jar that we can smash. Talk to our friend, exhaust his dialogue, and then approach the red flame. If your gourd is upgraded to have 9 uses, you can interact with this flame and get the final upgrade for the starting gourd. This will increase it to have 10 uses, and you'll also get the trophy always accompanied. When you are done with this area and ready to move on, swap out your vessel for something else, activate the next shrine, and move forward to start a cutscene. This is going to be another long one, so get comfy. After it's over, you'll go into a boss fight against the Keeper of Flaming Mountains. It's kind of an unorthodox fight, because you'll actually not fight him for most of it, but when you do finish the fight and send him scurrying away, you'll get the Yin Yang Taoist robe armor piece as a reward. When you get control again, you should see a gourd drink straight ahead of you. Grab it to get the Lung Bomb drink. If you then turn around and start to make your way back to the shrine, but then take a right at the little fork, instead you'll find another meditation spot to rest at. And then lastly, if you then go from here and make your way back to where you were trying to get to the Lung Bomb drink, but then take a left from there, you should see a little like area here that has a container that will have the slumbering beetle husk soak that you can grab. Now that we've grabbed all these items, we can continue on. After going up a hill for a little while, you'll run into the next elemental cart, the Crimson Silver Cart. This one will actually move around and is much more dangerous than the previous ones. Once you defeat it, you'll have to climb up another hill for a while until you reach the next shrine. But before we move forward, let's travel back to the Camp of Season Shrine. Go to where you fought the Pale Axe Stalwart, and you'll find him looking over yonder contemplating life on the edge of the platform. Speak with him and exhaust his dialogue. After speaking to him here, travel to the Emerald Hall Shrine and make your way to where you fought the Crimson Silver Cart. You'll find the Pale Axe Stalwart here now, and you will need to speak with him again and make sure to exhaust all his dialogue. Now that we have that out of the way, go back to the shrine at the top of the hill that we left off at. Go around this shrine into this little area here. You'll find some plants to grab. The one in the middle will trigger a boss fight against the 9-capped Lingji Guai. As you'll notice in the footage, a lot of stuff is going to happen after defeating him. Because I was making sure to get all of the seeds that I needed before ending each of the chapters, the 2 seeds that you get from this boss were actually the last 2 that I personally needed. And because of this, I got the trophy Seeds to Sow. If these weren't the final 2 for you, then it's going to trigger as soon as you get the last seed that you need from whichever plant is missing. The seeds in question that I received were the 9-capped Lingxi and purple Lingxi seeds. In addition to this, you'll also get the Earth Spirit Cap armor piece, and you'll be able to get the boss's spirit as well. And as a final little bonus, there will be another meditation spot for you to rest at as well. Once you start back on the main path, you'll have to avoid a giant spiked ball while traveling all around the top of this mountain area. You'll know you're done because a cutscene will trigger with Ping Ping. She'll start fanning the nearby flames, which will not only open the path to fight the final boss, but will also open up an alternate path that you can run past, or that you ran past while avoiding the spiked ball. Before going down the alternate path, follow Ping Ping until you get to the final shrine. Activate it so that you can just travel or fast travel here later. And then we want to backtrack until you will see a new path on your left that we had ran past before. Soon after going down this path, you'll see what looks like another boss to fight. However, instead of going to the middle to activate the fight, go around the perimeter of this area, and you'll wake up a bunch of rock enemies who are all lying in wait for you. You can take these guys out before spawning the boss fight, and that's going to help immensely since it'll become more one-on-one. After they have been taken care of, start the boss fight against the Flint Vanguard. After you eventually defeat it and grab its spirit, make sure to grab the nearby fragrant vine before moving on. As you continue on, you'll have to fight more of these weird enemies that come out of the ground and spit fire at you. You'll then eventually come to an open area. Approach the center and you'll be able to interact with it. To start the boss fight, you're going to need 3 flame ore items when the game offers you to offer them. I haven't mentioned these before, as they actually will be a pretty common drop from those enemies that come out of the ground, And even if you don't somehow have them, you can just buy a few of them from any shrine shop. So I didn't feel it was really worth mentioning before. Anyhow, after you offer the Flame Wars, the boss against the Mother of Flamelings will begin. It's kind of more of a, I don't want to say gimmick, but it's not necessarily like a regular fight. It's kind of like an in-between a gimmick and a regular fight, but you want to make sure that you don't die from the inevitable burn damage you're going to receive, because there's going to be fire flying everywhere. But after she's dead, you can grab its spirit as well. Continue on and you will eventually run into another shrine to activate. For my playthrough, I decided to travel back to the Emerald Hall Shrine again and make my way forward as I would normally to where the Crimson Silver cart was. However, you're going to stop halfway because you'll find the spiked ball that Baji helped knock down in the earlier cutscene. Approach it to receive the spirit for top takes bottom, bottom takes top. You can get the spirit earlier or later. You can get it as soon as that cutscene happens, but I ended up getting it here, and this is how you get it. Back at the shrine on the alternate path, go forward a bit and you'll trigger a cutscene with our bull homie in the mouth of the final cart. This is the rusty gold cart, and it's not much different than the silver one, but that means that it's just as annoying to deal with. I never really enjoyed fighting these things personally. After you take it out, you'll get the Flame Orb Curio as a reward. Go and talk to the Stalwart to start a cutscene with him where he'll point at the gigantic mirror wall thing. Approach the wall after the cutscene ends to open it. This is the entrance to the secret area of this chapter. But before you start it properly, take a left after going down the hill to find the frog boss for this chapter. Just look at him, just sitting there like a little scamp. This one is named Ba Ling Ling, and unsurprisingly, it uses fire attacks. Once you defeat it, now you're free to approach the center of the area to be transported into this chapter's secret area. Now that you're here, you'll have to fight a few bull enemies before you'll find a coffin off to your right. Opening it will reward you with the septenary Heartfire pill formula. Continue on a bit more until you reach the first shrine of this area. If you activated the shrine, take the left path until you see a meditation spot. If you've been following all the videos in this series to this point, this will be the last spot to meditate at, and as soon as you sit down, you'll receive the trophy Scenic Seeker for finding them all. After resting, take the opposite path, where it'll lead you to a boss fight against the top takes bottom, bottom takes top. Yep, it's the exact same spike ball that you were running from before. Now it's time to get your revenge on it. The fight actually goes on for a while because of the constant switching that they do, but after you defeat them, you can move on up the stairs. After you get to the top, keep an eye on your left side, as there's going to be a container for the last celestial pill of the chapter, which will increase your maximum stamina. Once you activate the next shrine, you'll have to take on a small army of bull enemies here. At the end of this little escapade, there will be a spirit version of the bull governor to take on. Take him out and grab his spirit after doing so. After continuing on for a bit more, you'll eventually run into another shrine to activate. Instead of moving on to conclude this secret area, I travel to the Valley Entrance Shrine first. From here, make your way to where you found the dead cart with the whip in its mouth. Now that all 5 of the carts are dead, we can now interact with the rope. You may have already surmised this, but it is indeed the whip of our horse NPC friend. Once we pull the whip out of the cart's mouth, we'll get a new transformation spell, Dark Thunder, along with the trophy Urge Unfulfilled. After getting this, I travel to the Painted Realm to do a few things before concluding this chapter. Firstly, since I have collected all the seeds in the game, I speak to Chen Lung to give him the final seeds that I have. When you do this, he will reward you by giving you the Graceful Orchid drink. With this new drink in hand, do whatever upgrades you can, equip the Fireproof Mantle again, and then travel back to the last shrine we were at in the secret area. After jumping down, you will be immediately thrown into and ambushed by the final boss of this area, the Bishui Golden-Eyed Beast. I really do not like this boss. Not because it's too hard, but because it's just way too troublesome trying to hit this bastard. I think it plays way too much Overwatch or something, because it takes the phrase always be moving way too literally. I will give it kudos for one thing though. This fight can actually take place in 3 separate battlefields. If you either slide down or get pushed down the little ice slope, it'll actually stop the fight. You'll have to travel a ways to resume it, but the boss will then have ice attacks instead of fire ones, which is actually kind of neat. It didn't happen to me during the recording for this fight, but feel free to experiment with the fight on your own. Honestly, I do feel that if you take it to the second phase, it actually becomes a bit easier because the ice isn't as oppressive as the fire will be. But nonetheless, when you do manage to defeat the beast, you'll receive the trophy Frost and Flame. And after the cutscene that follows the fight ends, you'll receive the Taoist's Basket of Fire and Ice Curio amongst a bunch of other items. Remember how I said that you can go down a little ice slope during that boss fight? Well, if you didn't end up doing that, you will want to travel back to the boss area like I had to and go down it. This is because you'll enter a little area where you can find a jar with an awakening wine worm inside. Well, I guess it's actually not mandatory at this point if you had like your gourd maxed out, but I mean, another wine worm is always nice to have, and I believe you'll also be able to get another material, the Bull King's horn item material, which you're going to need as well. From here, make your way back to the shrine you activated after following Ping Ping when she dispersed the flames earlier. It is now time to fight the final boss and end this chapter. After you watch a cutscene, you'll start the boss fight against Red Boy, who was disguised as Ping Ping the whole time. The biggest thing with this guy is to try and avoid his fire attacks as much as possible, so as not to take additional fire damage. When you defeat him, another cutscene will take place. But just when you thought things were too easy, Red Boy decides to play his Uno reverse card on your ass and transforms into Mr. Goddamn Anime himself. This is the true final boss of this chapter, and his name is Yaksha King. He loses the fire-based attacks he had from before, but now has these very large AoE based attacks that can activate after he finishes other combos. So you want to be careful with that. Is this the hardest final chapter end boss? No. But is it the most badass one? Oh, you bet your sweet booty cheeks it is. When the fight eventually comes to its conclusion, you will receive the next trophy, Flaming Fury. And after the cutscene plays out, you'll receive another trophy, Treasure Trove, for recovering all 4 vessels in the game. The last one is called the Plantain Fan, and you'll get it automatically for beating the chapter. And with that, that'll conclude chapter 5. 5 chapters down, 1 more to go. We are almost at the finish line now, but trust me, there is still a world of hurt waiting for you as you try to cross it. I won't spoil too much for you, but just you wait. Anyways, as always, thank you for watching, and I really hope you were able to get some help from this video. I appreciate your support, and I will see you all in chapter 6.